Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. And today we're going to talk about Hogwarts Legacy on the Nintendo Switch. I'm doing this. We were going to talk about it. Now we'll talk about something else. I'm doing this here instead of on the gaming channel because it's not a very good game. And I don't want to. I don't want to not talk about it. How about that for double negatives? But I also don't want to put the effort into making a gaming video about it because it just was kind of like a disappointment. It was one of the most disappointing games I've played in a very long time. And if you know me and my wife, we love Harry Potter. Like, we're big fans, and so. I was excited for it, and playing it, it was just such a miss. I developed a term when I was in Poland, well, technically Germany at this point. We were with the Portal team. We were trying out some games, potential products for bringing to Polish language. Right, it's like playing other publishers' games to try to see if we wanted to publish them. And one of the games we played, it was for some reason had a lot of buzz, and we tried it, and people were talking about it, and they looked at me and they said, "What do you think?" And I was like, my review was, "It's technically a game," and they all just thought that was hilarious. I did too, actually. I thought it was pretty funny. That was my review of this product. It was like, well, it's technically a game. I would never play this, but it is by definition a game. And Hogwarts Legacy was close. I did finish it. I played the whole thing. I did not 100% it. There was quite a few side tasks I didn't do, or I didn't find. Like, that was part of it. I didn't come across them or whatever. But gameplay wasn't good. Controls were bad. And the story had so many, it had so many misses that I don't get it. I heard people complaining, really upset that this game wasn't nominated for Game of the Year or whatever. It's not very good. And it has nothing to do with the Nintendo Switch version versus any other version. Granted, I'm fully aware. I watched Malia play the PS5 version, so I'm aware of what it could have looked like. I'm aware of what the frame rates could have been like. I'm aware of what the loading times could have been like. None of that is problematic for me. Those are all just ancillary. It just doesn't matter to me at all. There's a reason why I play Nintendo products, and it's because I like Nintendo products, not because they have beautiful graphics and 60 FPS and no loading time. So that doesn't factor into my review at all. The gameplay wasn't great. The combat is tedious and annoying at best. At worst, it's frustrating because there's hold menus where you hold a thing, hit a thing, do a thing, and some of the skills that you're doing are not part of that whole. So you're constantly hitting things you're not intending to hit, trying to get things done. It was frustrating, but on top of that, there was a whole bunch of gameplay elements that made zero sense. You do this. For instance, an unlocking spell. Aloha Mora is the unlocking spell. You cast Aloha Mora and you unlock a lock. When you see it in the movies, it's just a simple Aloha Mora. The lock falls open. In the books, it kind of seems that way. In this, they decided to add a little mini game. Great. So there's a little mini game that runs. You do Aloha Mora, now you have to manipulate this lock to unlock it. Cool. It serves zero purpose. There is no resource required in that, so it's not like if you fail, you're losing a resource. The game, there's no progression of time. I have done Aloha Mora in the presence of combatants, and they stop attacking you while you're doing this stupid little minigame. And the 20th time you're doing this stupid little minigame, why am I doing this? There is no skill involved in it. It's just a stupid little minigame for the sake of a stupid little minigame. There's 3 different levels of that spell. So there's locked level 1, 2, and 3. So you'll have to do a little side mission to upgrade the spell. And guess what? Level 2 locks are identical to level, and level 3 locks are there's nothing. It's literally nothing. Same thing for making potions. You go to this potion bench and you have to have a bunch of ingredients that you've spent time gathering or you've gone to a shop to purchase, and then you go to your potion bench and then you make potions. They have cooldowns of like 30 seconds, a minute and a half. For what purpose? Like, it's other than to be frustrating. Why? There's no, there's no like, there is a day-night cycle in the game, but there's no, there are exactly 0 missions that are time sensitive. So you're not losing anything. So I would make potions and then set the controller down and walk away because it was just stupid. Like, why do I have to sit here and watch this? There's nothing else I can be doing, really. There are a few things I could do in my little hideout while that's happening, but it's like, I want to make 10 potions. It's going to take me 15 minutes. Why? As the player, do I have to sit through that? It's just stupid. It would be one thing if not only was there a loss of ingredients, but now there is a loss of some other like opportunity, some other time. Like, oh, I have to decide whether I want to make these potions or go do this thing. There's none of that. 0. So why make me sit through this? That was frustrating. Combat was frustrating. There were also satisfying things. I enjoyed the sneaking mechanic. You have a disillusionment spell that you can use that allows to do some stealth, and stealths have their own attack, which is really fun. I love gameplay like that. I chose to use that way more than combat because it was just, I don't know, I enjoy it. So I did a lot of stealth. The mechanic is you become invisible, but not really. Like, you're invisible unless you get close, right? When you start getting close to people, they notice you and they start, well, what's going on here? So that was a fun mechanic. Flying was fun. Here's another one of those gameplay elements that's weird, though. Very early in the game, you get a broom. Now you can fly around whenever you want. You kind of jump in the air, the broom appears out of this weird satchel of folded space, and you take off. You get that extremely early in the game. Much later in the game, you get a flying mount. You get a hippogriff. For what purpose? I have no idea. At this point, you've already upgraded your broom. The hippogriff is not faster than your broom. It's just a different flying mount. But there's this whole game element that goes into it. And then much later in the game, you get a mount that you can ride on that provides no additional benefit. Technically, that's not true, but for all intents and purposes, this ride-on mount is a hindrance because it can't go off cliffs and up mountains and whatever. Like, you have to follow kind of and there's a whole setup for getting this this mount that you can ride. That's just like, this is useless. I'm never going to use this beyond the mission where you get it and you ride it back to where you need to go. Because at that point, you need to use the mount's special ability to break through some barriers. But you don't use that ever again. It has no purpose in the game other than that. Just lots of really weird stuff like that. Beyond that, gameplay-wise, has some fun. You know, it has your standard collection mechanics. There's lots of things to collect. Little statues, butterflies. You can unlock these map pages, scroll pages to fill out your book. There's tons of collectibles. The gear is useless. You get gear like they kind of had to do they tried to do like a Borderlands system where you just get chests and they have all this gear in it, and you collect gear and you try to find a good match, but none of it matters at all. It really doesn't until much later in the game, when you can start to tune your gear abilities to your spell abilities. In the early game, it's completely useless. You're wearing whatever the gear that has the highest number on it, and so all this other gear is just for sale. You just sell it for money, which has very little purpose in the game. I ended the game with like 40,000 gold because I didn't know what this. There's nothing to spend it on really at that point in the game. At the point when you have money to spend, you don't need money. Like, there's nothing to spend it on. Again, so all this gear is just an annoyance, especially when you get gear that is, have a thing like. So the gear, that I liked to wear was gear that made my stealth attacks more dangerous. They did more damage. If I got a piece of gear that had some other trait, it made your fire attacks more dangerous. You could just overwrite it. I could just go to my little special secret area, overwrite that enchantment, and have it just does this now. So gear was useless. Lots of very strange choices in gameplay. Story-wise, I liked the Keeper's story. So you as a player or a character that has some special form of magic that hasn't been seen in a very long time, and you use that magic in special ways that other people can't see, can't do, whatever, and you use that to go through a trial to find out what this magic is capable of. That was neat. I liked that story. However, you start off at Hogwarts as a 5th year. Fine, whatever. But there's zero feeling that you're a student at Hogwarts in this game, even though you are. There is no curfews. There's no going to classes and doing anything. There's no real feeling that you're competing with the other houses. There's none of what you would think of as a Hogwarts student. When you go to class, there's just a montage that plays, and then you go on with your life. You can spend weeks away from Hogwarts, weeks worth of day-night cycles, and nobody gives a damn. Like, there's no feeling of being a student. I think they could have just completely cut that and made you, some sort of investigator or whatever. Like, they could have just thrown that part away. There's no need for you to be a student at Hogwarts, other than access to Hogwarts. There was no integrity. Like, the groundskeeper, he's the one who teaches you Aloha Mora, which makes no sense. But there was a whole lot of weird gameplay or story choices that made it not feel at all like what you're expecting. So it was a very weird game. Like I said, I finished it, but I would give it maybe a 6 out of 10, which is technically better than average. It is a better than average game, but not by much. It's pretty just okay, we're going to go through the paces. And if you like the world, if you like that, the wizarding world stuff, you'll like it. You'll appreciate it. There was a lot that I got to see and do that made me feel like, oh, this is great. I feel like I'm part of this world. But there was also a whole lot of immersion breaking stuff that just felt a little bit like, I don't know if that's for me. Not disappointed that I played it. I'm disappointed in the game, but I'm glad I played it. I just found that the interesting part about it was I was never compelled to play it. Usually when I play a game that I like, I feel it pulling at me 100% of the time. When I'm working, I want to play. I never felt that with this game. Playing it was a choice that I made actively. All right, let's play a little bit. It was never I can't wait to jump back in. That's a sign to me that it's not the right thing. And I am the target audience for that game, right? Those types of games, those overworld, go on quests, fetch quests, delivery quests, stealth combat, open world stuff, that is my game. And set in that universe, the game was made for me, and it really fell flat. Did you play it on any platform? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is syncretistic. It's an adjective meaning a set of beliefs obtained by combining elements of multiple cultures, religions, societies, or schools of thought. Pauline's syncretistic worldview comes from the fact that her family has traveled extensively across the globe. Syncretistic. Syncretistic. I think I have developed a syncretistic belief system just based on when I was a kid. I wanted to explore all of the religions that I could. And through that, I became much more accepting of a lot of different beliefs and or ideals and or ways of doing things. I think that's a good thing.